Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today it is time for Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 15. I cannot believe that. 15, Shore Leave. My friends, I don't know what Shore Leave has in store for us. I'm incredibly excited to find out, but I do know where we've been, and most recently where we've been is the Menagerie, the Conscience of the King, and Balance of Terror. Amazing works of art in any genre. These aren't some of my favorite episodes of Star Trek. These are some of my favorite episodes of television. Amazing stuff. I love each and every one of them, and I can't wait to see what Shore Leave brings us, good, bad, or ugly. I am always looking forward to learning more about the original series, where it all started, the bedrock of Star Trek, where I am rebuilding my knowledge of Star Trek and how I approach future offerings. So my friends, if you could do me a favor, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, ringy ding ding that bell for notifications, and you too will be alerted anytime we go live here on YouTube with any original series, Lower Decks, any Star Trek, any sci-fi. You will be able to join us, my friends. And of course, if you'd like any of that early or in its full-length format, the link to our Patreon is in the description. But my friends, all that is then. And this is now. And what's now? It's time for Season 1 of the original series, Episode 15, Shore Leave. Prepare to engage maximum warp reaction. And away we go. Look at that beauty. Has anybody ever seen a beauty so fair as that of our lovely Enterprise? Mr. Spock, greatest officer in Starfleet. Oop, new navigator of the week.
From the landing party? They should be sending up a report momentarily, Captain. Oh. Something wrong?
A kink in my back. That's it. And a little higher, please. Push hard. Dig it in there, Mr. Thank you, Yeoman. That's sufficient.
That's one of the greatest things they've done yet.
In the last 3 months, there's not a crewman aboard who's not in need of a rest. Myself accepted, of course.
Oh my God, I'm already digging this. This is incredible.
Have Dr. McCoy's report channeled to my quarters.
Aye, Captain.
Okay, so far we've got Uhura. Obviously, we got Spock, we got Kirk, and an exterior shot, my favorite. Speaks of Miri when Vincent McEvedy arrived on the scene. Look at this.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Sulu the botanist.
No people, no worries. Just what the doctor ordered. Right, doctor?
I couldn't have prescribed better.
I don't think we've ever even seen a scene with these two.
You know, you have to see this place to believe it. It's like something out of Alice in Wonderland. The captain has to come down.
He'd like it.
He needs it.
He needs it.
He's got ours, plus his, plus 430 other people.
430. Wow. That's a higher population than we received in the cage, which was like 203.
Bush, a tree, a flower petal. With these we can tell the whole planet biology.
I love it. This is them doing their shit. Being excellent for excellence sake.
Oh, my paws and whiskers. I'll be late.
McCoy?
Excuse me, sir. Have you seen a rather large white rabbit?
Is there something coming from these plants that's making them hallucinate? Like, do we have a poppy field incident here?
Sulu!
What is it?
Now, if Sulu sees it too, then it's real.
What is it, Doc?
I love Sulu. I have never had a chance to experience Sulu. Okay, Jim's going to tell us about how awesome the Final Frontier is, so we have a chance to talk. This is something I actually wanted to mention way back in the Naked Time, or not Naked Time, Enemy Within. My experiences with Sulu are exceptionally limited because with the Wrath of Khan being like my jumping off point for Star Trek, the original series or the original crew, I never saw really Sulu interact that much with the original crew because he's sent off to be captain of the Excelsior. I never get to see him in this role. And he is exceptional. He provides so much. George Takei nails this part. He just does such a great job. It's his theater training, I think, too, that gives him such a believability to the character. But anyway, I'm so glad to see Sulu. Jim's done. Let's go, my friends. Surely. Oh, shit. Let's see what's going on. I am so excited to watch these. Holy shit. If you haven't guessed.
A planet remarkably like Earth, or how we remember Earth to be. Flowers, trees, green lawn, quiet and restful. Almost too good to be true.
Sir, I don't see your name in any of the show parties.
Well, I may be tired, yeoman, but I'm not falling apart. Dismissed.
They can't stop giving attractive yeomen to Kirk, can they?
Quite illogical to run up and down on green grass using energy instead of saving it.
My man.
Captain, are you beaming down?
I hadn't planned to. Bones, why?
Well,
I just saw the white fucking rabbit.
I just saw a large rabbit pull a gold watch from his vest and claim that he was late.
That's a McCoy pill. A little mystery sugar coating.
Uhura comes back on. He's back, and he wants to say he's serious.
We have a crew member aboard who's showing signs of stress and fatigue. Reaction time down 9 to 12%.
That's too low a rating.
He's becoming irritable and quarrelsome, yet he refuses to take rest and rehabilitation. Now, he has that right, but...
Crewman's right ends where the safety of the ship begins. Now, that man will go ashore on my orders. What's his name?
James Kirk.
I already love this shit.
Only peace, sunshine, and good air.
And the characters of Lewis Carroll. And a pistol.
We shouldn't be long.
Is that Angela? Who was one of the going to be a newlywed? Don't know. Oh, the yeoman's coming down too. We don't know her name yet, though. I just think it's hilarious that they keep giving Kirk.
So lovely. And restful. I mean, affirmative, Captain.
I want her name. She's wearing red, though, so.
Over here!
Now, did he call for them, or was that... I mean, I'm assuming that was Jim.
I saw what I saw, or maybe I hallucinated it. But I want you to take a look at it and tell me what you think about it.
Oh, he sees him. That's a good sign. That's a good sign that McCoy's not fucking crazy.
You mean you're canceling the shore leave on account of this, Jim?
Well, you're the doctor. Doctor, can you explain this?
Well, no.
Neither can I.
Then we got to explain it before we send people down here.
But before I bring my people down here, I want proof it's harmless.
Great shot. Great shot. Do this shit. Oh my God, I love that.
I know it's a crazy coincidence, but I've always wanted one like this. Found it lying right over there.
It's pulling it from their memories because he talked about Alice in Wonderland.
Are you sure our instruments didn't show any animal life on this planet?
Absolutely. No birds, no mammals, no insects, nothing.
Oh, I'm loving this already.
Yeoman Barrows, you accompany Mr. Sulu. Find out where those tracks came from.
Yeoman Barrows. Boy, you know, you think a distant shot like that doesn't take much, but outside with all of... Oh, look at this shit. That is a tracking shot on a dolly. Oh, God, they are doing some work in this one. Who is the director? It doesn't look like Vincent McEvedy, but...
Upperclassman there. One practical joke after another, and always on me. My own personal devil, a guy by the name of Finnegan.
Watch Finnegan show up here.
You never knew where he'd strike next.
Yeah, Finnegan's gonna show up.
Good. I got a personal grudge against that rabbit, Jim.
Go get him, Leonard. Good music.
Finnegan?
And Jim? How's Jim?
Look at that stunt, everybody.
Lay one on me because that's what you always wanted, isn't it?
It is. And you know what? Take the opportunity, Jim. This might be some psychosis, but punch this prick.
Let's try that one again.
Go! Go! Let me introduce Jim, baby! Run away! Run away!
Oh, they kept him in the back. Look at these shots, everybody.
What? Melvin Barrels.
She did beam down to a planet wearing red.
What happened?
I don't know. I do know. I was following the tracks and there he was.
Who was?
Him!
Who?
Give me a report.
She's upset.
The dagger with jewels on it.
Are you sure you're not imagining all this?
You just saw Finnegan.
Mr. Sulu was with you. Where is he now?
He ran after him.
Of course Sulu did.
Sulu!
Now they're up in the hills now. Look at this. Holy shit, everybody. Bill Shatner getting his steps in. Wait, is that your mom's flowers? Or as long as it doesn't make them forget what they're doing, they'll be fine. Uh-oh. Did he say Ruth? Who is Ruth? Lost love, I'm assuming.
Captain's.
Look at that beauty. Oh, that beauty. Back to my theory about blue or green eyes in early days of color television.
Been 15 years.
Take advantage of it, man, even if it's not real.
None of that matters.
Is she gone, like dead, or they're just no longer together?
You find Mr. Sulu.
Yeah, they're forgetting what they're doing.
But I'm sure he's all right.
Sir? Are you all right? Birds. A whole flock of them.
Don't you like birds, Mr. Rodriguez?
No life on this planet.
Mr. Rodriguez,
Come on, Jim.
have the search parties rendezvous at the Glade.
They're not trying to divert them, it doesn't seem. By they, I mean whoever forces at play.
Told me.
Do what you have to do. And I'll be waiting.
Yes, Mr. Spock.
Getting strange readings from the planet's surface, Captain. Some sort of power field down there.
Specify.
Highly sophisticated type of energy, draining our power and increasing, beginning to affect our communications.
Ooh.
Could be coming from beneath the planet's surface.
Keep me posted, Mr. Spock. We'll continue our investigation down here.
Jim really needed to share what he was doing.
In a place like this, a girl should be dressed like a fairy tale princess with lots of floaty stuff and a tall hat with a veil.
Yeoman, prepare for a costume change.
Have whole armies of Don Juans to fight off. And me, too.
What a promise, Doctor.
I like that. What's going on? Is it the dress? Shit, they're good. They're real good.
Oh, Doctor, they're lovely.
It's not like Leonard put them out there.
Look at me, Doctor. A lady to be protected and fought for.
Yeoman, I'm sure you're more than capable of fighting for yourself.
Don't peek.
Dear girl, I am a doctor. When I peek, it's in the line of duty.
Get the fuck out of here, Bones.
Captain's orders. Rendezvous at that glade where he first found you.
Communications. Oh, yeah. Esteban is, indisposed. Rabbits and tigers and dresses. Oh, my.
Doctor.
How about beam us up? Look at that. Tall, pointy hat. I mean, it's up to code. You know what I'm going to say.
One hallucination flattened me with a cloud on the jaw. The other,
That sounds like a painful reality.
yes.
There must be some logical explanation.
You guys are losing communications. I would beam back up.
Shall I beam down an armed party?
Negative. Our people here are armed with phasers. Besides, there's yet to be any real danger.
Well, those are the birds that Rodriguez said he saw. Sulu's in a fight for his life.
Captain, you've got to believe me.
I do. I've met some interesting personalities myself. Have you seen any of the others from the landing party?
Got a call a few minutes.
Stay together.
Communications are almost out.
That's not all. It was my phaser.
Oh, they're good for show.
Look,
They're bringing Spock down. Maybe not.
Good, we can use your help.
We're stranded down here, Captain?
Until we can find out what this is all about.
Sulu's like, well, shit. I've been to this party.
That way. Spread out.
Let's find it.
Okay, so whatever shows up, whatever's like manifested, it seems to remain physical. By the way, you still have that gun, don't you, Jim?
These things cannot be real. Hallucinations can't harm us.
Yes, but these things are physically manifested. She's wearing something, Bones. Dear God, so Bones just got run through with a fucking lance? Whoa, I bet you this blew some people's minds when they saw it.
We're trapped here. Our ship's surgeon, my personal friend, is dead.
It's my fault.
It's not your fault. Yeoman, come on.
We're in trouble. I need every crewman alert and thinking.
Aye, aye.
Captain! Captain!
I am digging Sulu so much. Such an awesome character.
I don't understand.
Neither do I, Mr. Sulu.
It's supposed to be fake or made up. It's a cool transfer right there.
This is not human skin tissue, Captain. More closely resembles the cellular casting we use for wound repairs.
Like Dermabond?
This is definitely a mechanical contrivance. It has the same basic cell structure as the plants here. Even the trees, the grass. The plants, the animals, the people, they're all being manufactured.
These are plant manifestations. What the hell?
All the crazy things.
Oh, Esteban, don't tell me you like to build models.
Can it hurt us?
Not unless it makes a strafing run.
A what?
The way they used to attack people on the ground.
They would circle around like this one's doing, and they would go into a dive like this one's doing, and they would get in a line like this one's doing. Everybody, we need to keep our foot. Oh, there's two of them. Okay, this will make it. Did she just run into a tree? Esteban.
Angela.
Or was she hit? It is Angela.
Finnegan!
Excuse me, Spock. I gotta go beat the piss out of somebody.
Take Sulu. Find McCoy's body. This man is my problem.
Captain, wait.
That's an order, Mr. Spock.
I'm gonna beat the piss out of this guy, get some information. Because that's how things work on this planet. The music is good. Bill getting his steps in. Man, they are going all out with these shots and the exterior. Jim, I don't know, whatever's rational and still left in your brain, just remember, you're getting farther away from everybody. I mean, shit, Kirk seems like he's having fun. Bill, we're going to need you to run about 8 miles in this week's episode. Was that Shatner that took that bump? Let me see. It was not Finnegan. No, it was not Shatner. Shatner took that one. Shatner does so much of his own stuff. It's unreal.
Get up. Get up.
He just pulls the gun out. Take that, Finnegan.
I've got the edge. I'm still 20 years old. Look at you. You're an old man.
That's all Jim needs to hear. Are you questioning my virility? You know it's serious when Jim gets his uniform torn off to the collar.
Sleep forever, you baby. Forever and forever.
It's interesting that the charade continued after Jim was unconscious. I mean, is that for our benefit or for the fact that these things are continuing with this, like, Ruse. We need a double hand punch. 20-year-old schmany-year-old. Fuck your age, Finnegan. Oh, kidney shot. Go over there and kick some dirt on him and give him a proper burial.
I'm being exactly what you expect me to be, Jimmy Boy.
That's an evil ass look, Bill. They just keep hitting each other. It must feel good.
Did you enjoy it, Captain?
Yes, I did.
For example, when Rodriguez thought of the tiger. Spock.
Wow, they actually brought that tiger out.
We've got to get back to the landing party.
I think the other stuff was stock footage. This is not. That was a pan cut or a pan. Meanwhile, Lord Almighty. The NBC film librarian was working overtime for stock footage on this one. Oh, get that foil. Get that foil for Sulu.
Think. You're at attention. Concentrate on that.
It's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Who are you? I'm the caretaker of this place, Captain Kirk. You know my name? But of course.
They know quite a bit.
We've only just discovered that you do not understand all this. These experiences were intended to amuse you. Anything that pleases you can be made to happen.
The term is amusement park.
Of course.
An old Earth name for a place where people could go to see and do all sorts of fascinating things.
This entire planet was constructed for our race of people.
What's that race?
That still doesn't explain the death of my ship's surgeon.
Possibly because no one has died, Jim. I was taken below the surface for some rather remarkable repairs. It's amazing.
What's with the two naval encrusted...
How do you explain them?
Oh, them. Well,
Your nurses?
I was thinking about a little cabaret I know on Rigel 2.
For God's sakes. For God's sakes, Bones.
Well, after all, I am on shore leave.
And so am I.
Oh, yes, so you are. Well, girls, I suppose you can turn something up.
So are they trying to insinuate that Yeoman Barrows and Bones are going to have something going on?
Your race is not yet ready to understand us, Captain.
I tend to agree.
Spock is the absolute best.
This amusement planet of ours could be an ideal place for your people to enjoy themselves.
I'm not sure I'd be buying into this, but...
Commence transporting shore leave parties. Tell them to prepare for the best shore leave they've ever had. Kirk out.
Due respects to the young lady, I've already had as much shore leave as I care for.
I'll go. You...
Take advantage of it, Jim. I don't know if she's gone or just a lost love, but...
On the other hand, I'll stay for a day or two.
For a day or two. Oh, look at that beauty. Uhura doesn't get a chance to go down?
Did you enjoy your rest, gentlemen?
Yes, we did, Mr. Spock. I think we did.
Indeed we did, Mr. Spock. Most illogical.
Ahead warp factor 1, Mr. Sulu.
Is that our leave line? Directed by Robert Spar. That's a new name. Written by Theodore Sturgeon. 2 new names, I think. These episodes, my friends. We just got done watching Star Trek, the original series, Season 1, Episode 15, Shore Leave. And my friends, the only thing we have left to do is talk about it. Well, hello, everybody. We just got done watching the original series, Season 1, Episode 15, Shore Leave. Fantastic episode. Again, different episode. You know, obviously different, very different from Balance of Terror, very different from The Conscience of the King. Well, both of them had very heavy kind of intentions, possible war and balance of terror with loss of life already in play, conscience of the king, a mass murderer being brought to justice, a murder mystery, the witnesses being killed, a much weightier, much, heavier fucking plot points and whatnot that are being dropped on us. With this one, ultimately it could have been sinister. It could have been very deadly. It could have been, if this race that lives underground had been nefarious in any way, this would have been a death trap, showing up here and getting caught. But it wasn't. It ended up being lighthearted. It ended up being a really interesting episode and a good device to learn more about the characters, specifically Jim. We were brought in and we were told, hey, regardless of whether it's the airing order or we're just supposed to assume whether it's from what we've seen or what they've written and kind of the writers are talking about episodes we haven't seen yet, doesn't really matter. But the past 3 months, according to what they said in the episode in Shore Leave, have been very trying. And so it was necessary for some type of downtime. And of course, the running gag in there was the person that was in desperate need of it was Kirk himself, which I thought was really, really neat the way they did that. The episode started off really well with the, Spock coming down to talk to Kirk. And one of my favorite moments of the series so far, is when Jim, on my back, thinking Spock is the one that is helping him work out like a disc problem or something. No, lower. And then Spock walks up beside him and he's like, if you're here, who's working on my, that's enough, yeoman. Doesn't even look around. That was really well done. Really well done, because for a second I thought, is he really having his yeoman rub his back? I mean, this is the same Jim that's like, wouldn't talk to Janice Rand or really go anything beyond the occasionally they would. But I mean, it was, he had separation of the captain and then the man of Jim Kirk and all that stuff, which was the appropriate way to act, I might add. But I thought that he was asking Yeoman Barrows to like rub his back, and that was something that was accepted or something that was done. And then they twist it and he thought it was Spock. I mean, that's just great. I love that. It tickled me. That tickled me quite a bit. Love that part. I really, really enjoyed the actress that portrayed Yeoman Barrows. I thought she did an excellent job. Again, we get hints of this damsel in distress type of stuff. But at the end of the day, if I'm just looking at the acting, and I understand the, product of the times and things like that, I don't agree with it, but I understand what it is, so it's not worth really raging over. I will mention it though, because I always like to mention that, it was noticed. But looking at just her acting, just her performance, just her profession and her craft that she put into play in this episode, I thought she did a really good job. A couple of the instances, especially when she was getting really spun up about, the situation, and I should say really spun up. She was physically attacked. She was physically, I don't care if it was Don Juan or whoever the hell it was, dress torn. I mean, uniform torn. I mean, that's, of everything that happened. Now you can say, well, Jim experienced the same thing. Well, yeah, but I mean, he actively engaged in that fist fight. It wasn't like he ran from it or anything. I'm not sure Yeoman Barrows like invited in hand-to-hand combat. So that was very, in the entirety of the episode, other than McCoy's, pseudo death, that was a very heavy moment. When you look at that and you think, okay, well, what was Don Juan trying to do here before he ran off? And if it's something that, you were thinking about in your head and, it was supposed to be fun or challenging or whatever, I'm not sure where the read came for that particular encounter to go the way that it went. So again, I like everything that's going on. I just think there's way more to this planet than what we were kind of allowed to see. Like it possesses it's a holodeck without the, safety protocols on, basically, right? Because I mean, you can be killed, they just happen to be able to bring Bones back to life, which that's an interesting little plot point, but I mean, I understand what they were going for. It was the entirety of the episode, I think for me worked best in that it described and gave us more about Jim. We know Jim has been through a terrible amount. I mentioned it, my favorite moment now to date as a fan of Star Trek, the original series through episode 15, my moment to date that kind of is the iconic Jim Kirk moment, for me anyway, is when at the end of Balance of Terror. He just gets done talking to Angela, who we see in this episode. Just gets done talking to Angela about the loss of her not even fiance yet, but she was a widowed fiance, I guess. He comforts her. He does his best to kind of, get her okay enough with the situation. And then he leaves, and we have that amazing shot by Vincent McKevity, who tracks him through the hallway as the business of the Enterprise is being conducted. And he strides through there, and you can see it on his face. Jim goes from moment to challenging moment to challenging moment, and he cannot dwell on the moment that he is just, if he's completed it or tied it off at all, he must forget about it and move on to the next. The job of the captain is never done, and it is never easy. Whether it's a life and death decision, whether it's going here or there, everything has consequences. The actions of a captain are forever under a microscope, and that pressure must be intense. And no matter how cavalier you may be, and I don't think Jim's cavalier. I think he takes all this stuff and just carries it. Jim's not the type of person to be like, well, fiddly-dee, I'm happy now, and just kind of literally forget about everything. He pushes it aside. Maybe that's a better way for me to say it. He doesn't forget about these heavy moments. He pushes them aside or represses them, which is terrible. But he does it because he needs to move on to the next one. And so with Jim in that type of situation, and Jim kind of constantly under this pressure, shore leave in the episode and the act are almost vital to him being able to reset, him being able to get back to an unburdened neutral, maybe. I don't think he's ever going to be like, happy-go-lucky, but at least if he can get to the point where he's not as weighed down. And again, it was just so well done in that we learn more about what has happened with Jim outside of the chair. Finnegan being a bully back in the academy, not necessarily something that, changed the course of Kirk's life. I mean, it may have, but it was an event and a person that defined him. Somebody, this bully that, he remembers fondly enough to want to beat the shit out of, And Jim's not really quick to anger. So if this is definitely a cathartic moment for him when he was able to really lay into Finnegan. And then, of course, we have the lost love in Ruth. Is this somebody that has died? Is this somebody that was just lost to the occupation? As he was progressing through Starfleet, maybe she was on another ship, or if she was even a member of Starfleet, maybe she was, somebody he knew at the academy, and they just, they fell in love. I don't know, but it was enough that her presence soothed Jim, for good or ill, whether it distracted him at one point, which it did. It was soothing. He seemed happy. He seemed content. He seemed at peace. And I think we rarely see Jim like that. This Jim. We rarely see this Jim like that. He's in the middle of it. He's in the middle of his mission. There's no time for this. There's no time for content. There's no time for rest. There's no time for peace. It's always the exploration. It's always the challenge. It's always the conflict. And it's always the chair. And to see him out of the chair and in this situation and being able to dump some of this shit was really, really well done. And like I said, it gave us a little bit about what Jim Kirk is before the chair and valuable bits of information. Again, I think the presence of Sulu, who is quickly becoming my favorite character outside of, it's tough to say, Jim and Spock are so tough to kind of break in. That's rarefied air. But Sulu, if you take those two out of it, Sulu's definitely my favorite character. I think that and George Takei, this is a testament to his performance. He does so much with what he has. He's constantly moving. He's constantly giving physicality to the character of Sulu that I really enjoy. Whether it's like if something gets tense, his body reacts. Like he sinks an inch as he kind of like gets down into a state of either, explosive action or like running, or, he makes so many really great choices with how he portrays Sulu. And having him, on the planet as the botanist, as somebody that, was supposed to be there and supposed to like interact and supposed to be part of the away mission's actual scientific message was great too, because it's not like they forgot that, he was a botanist and they just kind of make him the Helms person now. But I'm super glad that, he was able to we have a flashback or a callback to his original occupation as part of the science team. That was good stuff. But the acting all around was really good. In final mention, I'm interested to see whether or not we'll see Yeoman Barrows again, or if she's just going to be like our navigator of the week. Are we going to have like a yeoman of the week now? I enjoyed this episode for what it was, very different from the ones that we've had before. Even though there was a measure of dread, like we mentioned, there was a resolution that tended towards the happily ever after instead of the, okay, that's over for now, which is what we seem to have. My friends, if you stuck with me this long, do me a favor and hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications, and you too will be alerted anytime we go live on YouTube, my friends. And of course, if you want the full-length watch-alongs and reactions, the link to our Patreon is in the description. But my friends, that's all from me. The only thing we have left now is Q&A to learn a few facts about the episode that I was too scared to look up for fear of spoilers. So my friends, let's turn it over to Q. Q? Greetings, mon capitans, and welcome to another installment of Q&A. My friends, this is the segment where we go back and look at the episode that we just watched, and without going and doing this beforehand and spoiling things for myself, I find a couple little tidbits and a couple little production notes that I find interesting, and I hope that you do too, my friends. And if you walk away learning something, that is awesome, because each and every one of these things I had no idea about before we went in. So my friends, let's learn a little bit about shore leave. Now, my friends, as we look at this, there are 5 little components that I like to add into Q&A. Writers and directors, guest stars, core cast, production, and of course my favorite, were there any cuts for syndication? So my friends, let's jump right into it. Our writer for this episode was Theodore Sturgeon, and our director was Robert Spar, both first-timers to the Star Trek universe. And for a new little segment that I'm adding in here, because we had some very distinct, very original music in Shore Leave, the composer for this episode was Gerald Fried. Had to be made mention, and I think I'm going to do this going forward. If there is an actual composer that is put for the specific episode, I'd like to mention them, because the music is a huge part of Star Trek, and I need to make sure I note that. Who do we have in here as guest stars? We had a ton of guest stars in this one. We had Emily Banks as Yeoman Barrows, who literally stepped into the Janice Rand role. Anything that we see Yeoman Barrows do in this episode was supposed to be Grace Lee Whitney's Yeoman Rand, but switched over to Yeoman Barrows because of Rand's exit from the series. Who else do we have? Bruce Mars as Finnegan. Now our next guest star is Barbara Baldwin, who plays Angela. Now this is the same Angela from Balance of Terror, sort of. And the reason for that is the actress, Barbara Baldwin, was cast in this role, but the role wasn't for Angela. The role was for an officer named Teller. And in fact, in one of the earliest scenes of this, before the Gene Roddenberry, we'll talk about this in a second, Gene Roddenberry's rewrites kind of caught up to the script, Kirk actually refers to her as Teller. Now, during the rewrites that Gene was making, during the filming of the episode, he realized, wait a minute, she played Angela in Balance of Terror. And so they switch it midstream to reflect that designation. And so she becomes Angela. But that's why a couple of her actions don't necessarily mesh with the Angela that we met in Balance of Terror, the one that had just lost Robert Tomlinson. So again, if she acts weird, it's because she's a completely different character. I'm sure that was wonderful for Barbara to have to kind of like switch midstream to figure that all out. Excellent work on her part, though, to be able to kind of roll with the punches. In addition to that, we had Shirley Bond as Ruth, who they described in the script as Kirk's old Academy love interest. So that kind of places her in his timeline, that this was somebody that he had a relationship with during his days in the Academy. And finally, last but certainly not least, Oliver McGowan was the caretaker, that strange kind of supernatural figure that we saw arrive at the end and explained a little bit, and also, brought McCoy back from the dead. Thanks. All right, my friends. Now, core cast, who do we have here? Everyone is accounted for except for our engineer. Montgomery Scott does not appear in Shore Leave. Now, on to production. What did we learn about production? Well, I really was curious as to what the external location was where they filmed all of the planet side areas, and I was rewarded for my searching efforts. It was filmed at Vasquez Rocks Natural Area Park, which is just outside of Los Angeles. So they kept it close, but again, that was an exterior shot that definitely cost money to move everything over to. Speaking of money, there was an elephant brought in for filming on set. Made it all the way from wherever it had been housed. This elephant was transported to Vasquez Rocks Natural Area Park, was set up, fed, everything for, I think, 2 days and never used. Now, when associate producer Robert H. Gustman found out about this, he could not be on set for this because he had a prior commitment. He found out that they ordered an elephant, had it there for whatever amount of time, and then never used it. Apparently, he flipped out. Went and just absolutely lost his mind because of the waste of money, and I can appreciate that. That is definitely a waste of everybody's time and money. I think Mr. Gustman might have actually, his rage might have been legitimate there. All right, my friends. So another thing that was unique to this episode was, for whatever reason, the handles of the phasers were painted black. The only time we see that, which is an interesting little tidbit. Now, here's what I've kind of been alluding to the entire time. Theodore Sturgeon's original script for Shore Leave was deemed too fantastical with too many fantasy elements. And so Gene L. Coon was asked to rewrite it and kind of, bring it back a little bit, make it a little bit more realistic. Everybody assumed that Gene L. Coon had done exactly that until the day of filming, when Coon arrived with a script that he completely misinterpreted what was required and made it even more fantastical, adding in more elements, adding in more of the what the planet side shenanigans were down on Shore Leave. And so it was completely unusable as far as what they would be able to shoot and what they would be able to use. So Gene Roddenberry, and this is the rumor folklore part of everything, went underneath a tree in the park and began to furiously rewrite the script, to the point where as soon as he would get done a page, he would hand it off to a PA. The PA would sprint to the nearest typewriter in the office trailer that they had, type up what Roddenberry had put down, and begin making copies for the actors. That was literally hot off the presses, into the hands of Shatner, Nimoy, and everybody else, who would then read their lines and immediately give them. It was among the crew and the cast, they said, the most frenetic, it was the most frantic kind of production ever, because you didn't even know what you were going to say next or what scene you were going to do. It was almost like it was some type of like a night at the Improv. And this hectic nature of this rewrites right in the middle of the shooting schedule led to the unthinkable, as Shore Leave went over its production run by a full day. And my friends, whenever you go over by a full day, there is no chance of catching up. A part day, you can catch up if you can kind of cut a part day somewhere else. But once you go a full day, there's no way to recapture that. That's lost time that has to be sucked up, which is really tough to do with the schedule that they had. And finally, my friends, last but certainly not least, syndication cuts. Now, no real syndication cuts, but there was a full scene filmed depicting Yeoman Barrows being accosted by Don Juan. This scene actually appeared in the previews that were put out for the episode, but it was cut from the original, or it was cut from the final print of the episode. And to this day, that little scene, which apparently sold a lot of people to actually watch the episode, was lost to time. But my friends, that is all for this edition of Q&A. Until we meet next time, behave.